What up? Death by Dynasty here, week 4 of the NFL season. We're going to break
What's
it all
up,
down
baby?
for you so you can win your fantasy matchups. If you want to win your fantasy football matchups all season long, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're growing this community on our road to 200 subscribers here. But all right, week 4, we'll get right into it. We'll start with tonight's game. This video might go up Wednesday night, but hey, Thursday night matchup. Lions, Packers, and kind of an interesting one to see where these two teams stand, to be honest, but a lot of interesting fantasy talk to go into as well.
I think they're the same team. You know that Spider-Man meme when they're just like pointing at each other like you're the same thing? They're the same team. They're both teams are unpredictable. Neither of them are at a level where they can really compete with the big dogs yet. And there's a lot of fantasy potential on both teams as well. But some I'm definitely more high on than others. Who do you have? Who's one of your guys who you're like, all right, that's my dog this week?
All right, well, Jordan Love has been surprisingly looking real good out of the gate. It didn't look amazing last week, but led the comeback against the Saints. I memean, he's continued to start him every single week right now. And he gets back another weapon this week in Christian Watson, who I'm on the verge. I'm like, I traded away Christian Watson in our league. But Jordan Love, regardless, is a must start.
Now,
Christian Watson.
let me cut in here. You get 3 wide receivers there who are all I feel like at this point all have really high fantasy potential between Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, and Jaden Reed. 3 really high potential receivers. How are you ranking them in dynasty fantasy football?
Oh man, for the not even for this week. I think you have to still put Christian Watson.
Let's go this week.
This week I put Romeo Dobbs at the top. In fact, unless you need a flex play, I don't start Christian Watson. But like for me, the verdict is out on Christian Watson because he could end up being everything as advertised, explosive, fast, big. But at the same time, we could be looking at like a Gabe Davis scenario where there's so much hype around him and he's a good NFL player, but nothing that's going to move the needle for you in fantasy football. Like, I think that's a real possibility for Christian Watson. And right now with him having a hamstring injury that he actually dealt with some hamstring injuries last year too. And that seems to me like hamstrings could be like career long, like dealing with it for the rest of his career. But when this offense has already been clicking and looking good, and he's just getting back from his injury, I could see him being limited in his involvement in this offense. So I put Romeo Dobbs first, but I guess I'll put Christian Watson second. This week I'll put Jaden Reed second still, and then third, because I'm hesitant to start. I probably wouldn't start Jaden Reed this week either, though.
Yeah, I think you can start. I think you could flip a coin if you have like a flex position you need to fill in and you have both Dobbs and Reed on your team. You could flip a coin and you're just as likely to pick the one that's gonna be good. But for Christian Watson, I'm definitely waiting to see what he does for this week. I probably have him towards the bottom there.
Yeah, I like Christian. So Reed had looked good week 2 and didn't do too much week 1 or 3. Romeo Dobbs looked good week 1 and week 3. So like you said, it's kind of a flip of the coin right now, but it seems like Romeo Dobbs is the wide receiver 1, or at least he was with Christian Watson out. I got to see Christian Watson on the field before I have a verdict on him. And be patient with him if you want to, because he might not look good this week, his first game back, but his talent is there. So
now let me ask you this. Jahmyr Gibbs, tell me why isn't he so explosive right now? Why isn't he?
He looks great.
He does.
He looks
What's going on?
great.
Where's the fantasy points? Tell me. Where are they at? Where are they?
I don't have the answers.
The reason I'm saying this.
Dan fucking what's his name?
The reason I'm saying Dan Campbell. He's the reason. I said this before the season, and I know I'm honestly, this isn't even me like taking laps. It's me saying that you have to know that when they signed David Montgomery for that much money, they're gonna use him. It was obvious. Dan Campbell, when has he had look at the Swift situation right now. You have Swift and Philly going crazy. He didn't use him anywhere close to how they're supposed to use him. Is Swift that good of a running back to where he's rushing for 170 yards? No, but the offensive line uses a system where he's explosive, and the Lions have a system where they could be explosive, and they should be using Gibbs more than they are, and Gibbs should be getting way more fantasy points than he is. But I said before the season, it was going to take some time, whether that's months to a season, before Jahmyr Gibbs is what everyone wants him to be, and that he will be. It's just not at this time, and it was so predictable to see coming, but people just saw the highlights and were like, no, he's going to do that from the get-go.
We know how good the Eagles' offensive line is, but DeAndre Swift is currently the RB14 in PPR and RB11 in half PPR. Like, there's a reason why teams like the Detroit Lions
He has the second most
Detroit
rushing
Lions.
yards. He has the second most rushing yards.
Because you traded away DeAndre Swift, and then you
for pennies,
drafted a player that you would want to look like DeAndre Swift looks right now. So that's the reason why the Lions have been the Lions for so long. And yes, they're a talented team, and yes, they have potential moving forward, but like, you basically replaced DeAndre Swift with another version of DeAndre Swift.
If Jahmyr Gibbs has a game exactly how DeAndre Swift does, people will be going crazy if he has a game like either of the games that DeAndre Swift did.
Exactly. Because like the Eagles are still, even last game, like they were cautious with using DeAndre Swift. His efficiency was amazing. He probably had the ability to be top 5 RB last week. What was he last week? He was RB13 last week, but he had 8.13 yards per carry. Like, that's insane. So, yeah.
Here, I got a question for you for starter sit for the Thursday night games. Let's say you're between Gibbs and Montgomery. Who are you starting in your flex spot there?
I would hope that Gibbs is going to get worked more and more into this offense. The
question is not what you hope. It's what you are doing in fantasy football based off what you know in this situation.
Well, my answer is probably to start Jahmyr Gibbs because he's the more talented player, and I would start him hoping that he's going to be more involved this week.
Yeah, I think Gibbs is the correct answer, but I think there's a closer to 50-50 than you think that David Montgomery has a better game than Jahmyr Gibbs does. Like you said, last week, he just he had the perfect opportunity to go crazy in a game that they were winning and should have been running a lot with, and he still wasn't getting that load in that. However, Dan Campbell said the ways we're never going to believe how we're seeing him being used before.
I know. Why say all that?
That's what I mean. It's just like, I feel like that causes a lot of disappointment in itself. And
then after week 1, they were like, no, we will get him more involved.
And they still haven't done anything different. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a disappointment, but as a dynasty owner, you have to be patient with him. Like, he is a good player. He is going to be the guy, but you may have to wait till next year before he's an RB1, which we did say in this offseason. We said he's a mid to high end RB2 this season, which he's not even really at this point, and that he's going to be a RB1 moving forward. He's a top, for me, he's still a top 5 dynasty running back, easily a top 10 dynasty running back, but yeah, you just got to wait on him for a little bit longer.
All right, I got a question for you. Who are you taking on the spread? It's right now Green Bay at home plus 1.5.
I mean, that is as Vegas does, make it hard. I think I'm going Green Bay. I think I am.
I think it's going to be a great game. I think I'm rooting for Green Bay. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, plus 1.5 at home is kind of disrespectful.
I know. I agree. In Lambeau, division rival, when they're playing not bad, like they're nothing crazy just yet. But with what we've seen from Green Bay, there is no reason they shouldn't be a favorite at home against a division rival.
I mean, they're saying the Lions are definitely the better team. I don't know
You
that.
get 3 points just for playing on your home field. So they're saying that they're 4.5 points better.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, should be a good game. I like the spread, but like, yeah, I think that's a little disrespectful to the Packers given how good they've looked. And like, yeah, maybe a little bit of a surprise how good. Like maybe people are still buying into the Lions hype that was there all season long. I'm not sure. I mean, the Lions have looked, yeah, like you said, same team. They're very similar.
They're wild. Both of them could make the wild card, but they're
Both of
nothing
them,
more than
both
that.
of them look like they'll beat up on the teams that they should beat up on. Which the Packers did lose to the Falcons, so maybe that could be throwing it off. I don't
The
know.
Falcons, they're another team that's they could be frauds too.
Yeah, I think so. That Saints defense is really good, and the Packers figured it out towards the end of the game, made it happen, did what they needed to do to win at the very least. So yeah, I think it's a very close game. I got to give it to the Packers at home though.
I got some props for you here. Jared Goff over under 254.5 passing yards. This is brought to you by no one, but it is the line from Prize Picks.
254.5, Jared Goff. I'm gonna go
254, yep.
I'm gonna go with the over there. I think
What
it could be a pretty
receivers are
high.
you looking for in Detroit? Like you got obviously got Amon-Ra. Sam Laporta. I said it before the season.
Sam
He's going to be the
Laporta.
best tight end out of all the guys here, and right now he is. I like Dalton Kincaid. Shout out Buffalo. Buffalo's Philly North. But I like Dalton Kincaid. But Sam Laporta, he may be the most fantasy relevant quickly. He's getting really thrown into that offense.
Yeah,
there.
Josh Reynolds has been involved. He's looked good.
Khalif Raymond.
Yeah.
They got a bunch of guys out there. Marvin Jones.
Yeah. I like, yeah. I mean, Amon-Ra is going to do his thing, and Josh Reynolds has been involved, and
All right, now here, big
Sam
one for you.
Laporta.
Jared Goff over under 2.5 rushing yards.
Jesus. Go with the over. Go with the over.
He could trip running like on a throw and get 3 yards. Like I feel like that's just like begging you to take it, but then you probably look back and probably like 10 out of the last 11 games he's gotten 0 rushing yards.
Yeah. Aaron Jones is back this week. Aaron Jones is back. So the Packers get back Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. I think. I guess we don't officially know. Christian Watson really could still be a game time decision. Everyone's saying he's back, but really that's just because he said he wants to be back. I think he is, but he still has to clear some medical protocol, I think. But Aaron Jones is back. How do you feel about that? Likely.
It's a Green Bay backfield in general. I'm not like it's one of those where there's probably a situation where you're starting them, and it just is what it is. Like I don't expect greatness out of either of them.
So who are you starting over Aaron Jones this week? Oh, you don't have Aaron Jones. I thought you had Aaron Jones.
No, I was gonna say I'm not starting any. I don't have him in anything. I don't have Aaron Jones or AJ Dillon in any league. I don't know if I've ever had either. I think I did have Aaron Jones in Dynasty at one point.
I mean, Aaron Jones looked great week 1. I'm starting Aaron Jones this week. I like Christian Watson. I'm hesitant to start Aaron Jones. Listen, AJ Dillon looked awful with Aaron Jones out.
But I definitely like Aaron Jones way more than AJ Dillon. Let me get that clear.
But yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones for me is a low end RB1, high end RB2.
What's his stats look like week 1?
He did good week 1. He put up 25 fantasy points, 9 carries for 41. Oh, you know what it was? He was
how many fantasy points?
He was really heavily involved in the passing game week 1, partially because Christian Watson was injured. So
I feel like that offense is also just like unpredictable with how young it is, and all like everyone's brand new. So I think that's what scares me away from Green Bay in general. Is just like I feel like their offense could look completely different week to week.
Yeah, I think here's the deal. Aaron Jones has to be involved in the passing game, which he won't be as involved in the passing game this week with Christian Watson coming back, I would assume. And with Jordan Love kind of getting his feet under him and stuff like that. But Aaron Jones for me is still a must start. He's a must start for me.
In most situations, you're starting him.
And
especially now with the running back situation.
The other guy who looks good, another rookie tight end on the other side, Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, he's just another Njoku to me. He's whoever.
He's been
And
involved. Good for
he's been
tight
over.
ends.
He's got missed on a lot of touchdowns, but that's like I feel like the story of the year with a lot of these guys. But
Yeah.
he's one of those guys. Like he's definitely starting if you have him, but he could get 2 points one week. He could get 20 points the next.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else about this Thursday game?
No, that's I'm hoping Green Bay wins. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope Green Bay wins.
Here's an interesting conversation, just in fantasy and another team. The Steelers running back situation has been pretty awful. That offense. Okay, so Najee Harris has been pretty brutal. I kind of want to look up his numbers, but his yards per carry have been really bad. And then they've got Jaylen Warren as their backup, who's been completely the only running back involved in the passing game, 100% of the way, the only running back involved in the passing game at all. Like, if they're passing the ball, Najee Harris isn't even on the field. So if Najee Harris is on the field, you know they're running the ball. That's literally how the Steelers have operated so far this season. Neither of them have looked great rushing the ball, but they're two completely different running backs, and that offensive line is awful. I don't know if I see a situation where Najee Harris becomes the true backup there because of what they have invested in him, but they're almost both of them are no, like can't start either of them at this point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say all respect to Mr. Najee Harris, but if I have him in Dynasty, I'm trying to sell him. I'm hoping that he has a decent game at some point and you can sell him soon. But I'm completely out on him for redraft. I'm benching him. I'm starting like as Brian Robinson, like for sure. I'm starting over Najee Harris.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys I'm starting over Najee
James
Harris.
Cook.
James Cook. I'm definitely starting over Najee Harris. Zach Moss.
Jerome
I'm starting
Ford,
over Najee Harris. Jerome Ford. I'm starting over Najee Harris. And I think it's just like it's almost it just doesn't look like he's like running right. Like it looks like he's like in his head when he's running, like he's thinking about how he should be running. And the line is atrocious. The line is god awful.
I think that's a huge part of it.
I think it's both sides. Yeah. The line is so bad, and he's also just like, I think he's expecting. I think he's like, oh, I'm getting this ball, and there's going to be 5 people in my face. What do I do? And just tries to do something that's never going to work.
Yeah. He looked a little bit better at the end of last week's game, but overall his stats still were not good. He's averaging 3.97 yards per carry. That line has not opened up many holes for him. Like he is getting like tackled in the backfield, but like even when there is a hole, he doesn't look very fast. He does not look very fast. Jaylen Warren looks explosive, and he's been involved in the passing game, but that offense as a whole has not been pretty.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's like all breakaways. The one thing this just came to my head, I really wanted to say this for the Green Bay game, just came back to me as we were thinking about, because George Pickens actually reminded me of it. Christian Watson, the only way he's fantasy relevant this week is if he catches a 72-yard touchdown, which he very well might. There's like a 40% chance that he does. And
yeah, that's like what he's good for.
They're going to throw one to him, and it's just whether or not he catches it or if it's a good throw. But he's going to get that opportunity, and I think that's where most of his points are going to come from. I'm going to go back. George Pickens. He's someone who I like in Pittsburgh still.
They're the same player. But
they're differently. They're not valued the same in Dynasty. In Dynasty, Christian Watson is valued way more than what's his name? George Pickens. I think.
I feel like going into the season, George Pickens was higher rated.
You think?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to look up average draft position.
Let me look. Yeah, Dynasty rankings.
Dynasty average draft position.
I just feel like he had so much hype around him because people didn't know about Jaden Reed. People, like, we knew about Dobbs, but not really.
Where's George Pickens? Where is he? Surprised he's actually this low.
They got George Pickens on Fantasy Pros at 35 wide receiver for fantasy football. And they got now, this isn't before the season. That's the thing. And right now, currently, where's Christian Watson?
I think I'm looking at before the season, and Christian Watson's at 23. Wait, is this the
Yeah,
same?
Christian Watson's currently at the 14th wide receiver. He's still ranked way above him.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Wow. For somebody who hasn't been on the field
That's what I mean.
through 3
People
weeks,
value Christian Watson so much still, and I think that's
I think
there's a lot
the
to be
verdict should
concerned
still be
about.
out there. Like it
Yeah,
should not be like
it's not a done deal.
yeah. I agree. And like just George Pickens is probably better than he's looked, but that offense has looked awful. So yeah. All right. What else? I'm just looking at some random matchups here. I mean, maybe we could talk about Jerome Ford a little bit because he was obviously certainly a lot of hype around him after the Nick Chubb injury there. Like so the Ravens or Browns are playing each other this week. Two teams that lost their starting running back to a season-ending injury this week. Jerome Ford for me is like I said, he's a top 15 running back the rest of the way. Last week he got 2 touchdowns. I don't know if you could rely on that every single week. He didn't really do too much on the ground, but I still continue to play him until I see otherwise.
Yeah, it was exactly what I expected from that game. Besides, I didn't think he was going to obviously catch a receiving touchdown from that far away, but he got shut down rushing, and without that touchdown, he didn't have a great game. But that's Tennessee. Tennessee shut every single running back they've seen so far down. So that's not surprising. And I am starting Jerome Ford the rest of the way if you have him.
Literally sit every single running back who's facing the Titans this
yeah,
season.
and unless it's someone who's like elite, you're benching them. If they're if they're a RB2 or below, you're thinking about benching them until someone proves that they can beat them. And likewise, I'm benching every running back that's going up against the Philadelphia run defense. And I don't give a damn what running back it is. I don't care if you got
But what about Brian Robinson?
Or
what did we
I don't
just
care.
say?
Not Bijan Robinson, not
No,
Brian
you're starting
Robinson,
Bijan Robinson.
not Austin Eckler,
You're starting
not
Bijan
Najee
Robinson.
Harris.
You are starting.
I don't care who you bring out there. They're getting 28 yards and a fumble against this Eagles front seven. I'm telling you now.
I'm starting Bijan against the Titans and the Eagles. I will be starting Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, Austin Eckler.
Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey I'll start. Christian McCaffrey's the only one. That's the only one I'm starting.
All right. That's a little bit far, but I do sit Joe Mixon against the Titans this week. The Titans have been awful, but yet their run defense is amazing. It's the only good part.
Yeah, Joe Mixon, someone I can't understand how they're he's always good. He's always good somehow, but he never is looks good when you watch him. He gets a couple really good runs and you're like, oh, he did okay, and you look at his stats and every year he's RB 11, and it looks like he's gonna do that again this year.
I think he just gets the carries. I think he doesn't even look that good, but they just give him the touches.
I think this Bengals team's going to change a lot in the near future with whatever route they decide to go with the Burrow situation and what he can and can't do right now. I just feel I don't like that situation. I don't like, T. Higgins, is he hurt? What was the update there?
T. Higgins?
Yeah, he got hurt during the game, I think. Or did I make that up?
I don't know. Let's see. I think he's fine.
Oh, well, either way.
He didn't look good. He did not look good.
Yeah, that situation's scary. And let me see.
But for me, T. Higgins.
Yeah, it says Sparks injury scare after shock exit versus Rams.
Oh, okay. Well, he had 8 targets, which is a fair target share for him.
But either way,
2 receptions.
There's something off about them right now. I'm not scared.
It's got to be Joe Burrow
for dynasty, but redraft right now, I am scared for this season.
Yeah. What would you buy T. Higgins at right now? He bounced back in week 2 after having 0 points in week 1.
T. Higgins right now, I think I'm trying to trade
in dynasty.
I'd be trying to do something like a Nico Collins in a second or something like that. Just like off the top of my head.
I think
I'm
that's
saying Nico
fair.
Collins in a second.
Yeah, I would still spend like a late first round pick on him. So I think that
Yeah.
that's fair. That's
I think
pretty
he's definitely still
equivalent.
worth a first, but I think creeping down more towards the second.
But it's almost as a good window to buy him.
It is. I think this is definitely the time you want to buy him in the short. If you're a team that you think you're going to compete, if you can get him for some picks, trade picks for him now. If you can get it for a first or multiple seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your bid on Justin Fields? I know you're making an offer out there, and
No.
you're not bidding.
No.
You know what's your price?
I'm
You're
done.
not a real offer. What would you offer for Justin Fields right now?
Realistically, I don't trade for him at all.
Nothing.
Nothing.
For a fourth.
I mean, sure, but if you need a quarterback, if you're in a super flex and you need a QB2 this season, I trade for him. I don't think he's a starting quarterback next year.
I'll tell you what, I didn't this is my tentative offer I sent out there. I said 2 seconds.
Okay.
I said I'll give you 2 seconds for Justin Fields.
I mean, it's possibly worth the risk. Like, he went nuclear last year because he just ran the ball everywhere. And if they are just like, all right, we're just going to have to do what we did last year. Here you go, Justin Fields, just run the ball. And turn him into a running back, basically.
I know Nick's watching this. All I'm going to say is I think Justin Fields is going to be horrible for the rest of the way. The worst quarterback in the league.
Which is a huge
for
turnaround.
Nick and Nick only. And for
where was Justin Fields ranked? Hold up. Going back to this list.
But for me, if 2 seconds sounds good, I think Justin Fields is top 10.
He was he was drafted as QB7 coming into the season.
Yeah, he is crazy. But yeah, if I get him, he's top 15 because I can coach him up, you know. But in that franchise, there ain't no way he's getting better.
Absolutely not. You know, Jersey Shore out here just doesn't have the coaching. Both of his quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence. What do we think of Trevor Lawrence? Not looking much like himself right now.
I still like. I don't get that situation. I was talking last week how I think the Jaguars are like a really fun, one of my favorite teams to watch. But I'm not really too concerned with Trevor Lawrence or Ridley or ETN's playing well. There's obviously nothing to worry about there, but I'm not worried about Ridley. I'm not worried about Christian Kirk in any way. Like, I think they're all gonna do their thing. I'm not worried about T-Law.
Yeah,
I think they're a great team still. Yeah, as far as fantasy goes. For
sure. I think that offense has not gelled yet. There's been Calvin Ridley's dropped the ball a little bit.
Yeah, he had a couple big drops, but I feel like that's just like it's just one of those things. Like, you look at Mike Evans. Mike Evans had a couple drops last game, but he also had like one of the sickest catches I've seen in a while.
Yeah, 100%. So I still buy in if you want to. I mean, if Calvin Ridley's a buy low right now, I guess.
I don't think he is after that week 1, and like the targets are there. I feel like he's very accurately valued right now by everyone.
Yeah. He was probably overvalued after week 1, and now it's just like accurately valued. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I would say.
I mean, that's the same thing for like a guy like Garrett Wilson. Coming into the season, you just couldn't get him. Like, he was just not available. Now he's probably available, and you still probably have to pay 2 firsts for him, which is probably fair because he's still top 10.
No way I'm paying 2 firsts for Garrett Wilson right now.
No?
Not right now, no.
That talent is insane. So what? But like, before,
you're waiting till they have a legit quarterback.
But at that point, it's too late. He's going to look like a top 5 receiver in this league. As long the Jets will find a way to fuck him up, but
if they don't have a quarterback, like his stats are genuinely bad with Zach Wilson as their quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like, he will finish the season as a top 20 wide receiver. He was drafted as a top 5 wide receiver.
What's he right now?
I don't know.
He's not even playing bad right now, and I bet he's not even a top 20. Let's see.
That's the thing. He isn't playing bad.
Fantasy.
Yeah, he's top 30. He's 30. He's 30. Last week.
And he's catching, and he's getting lucky. Like that week 2, he caught that long touchdown. Without that, he didn't have shit.
Yeah. I think that he is going to average. Week 3 was a down week for him. 5 receptions for 48 yards. That offense is obviously just bad right now with Zach Wilson. Do they really keep Zach Wilson for the entire season?
I feel like they are going to.
I don't know what options
an
they
injury.
have. But, like, it'll get to a point where who the hell is the Jets backup? It's not Mike White anymore.
They just signed Trevor Siemian.
Okay, well, I guess that's their guy now. Because otherwise it would be Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle. I'm pretty sure he was a Bengals backup at one point.
Bears last year. Tim Boyle. Yeah, I don't know if that's the answer.
No.
That's what I'm saying. And if you sign somebody off the
Bro,
street,
get Carson Wentz on the phone. I don't care what.
But that's
how
what I'm
many
saying.
jerseys
Carson Wentz
wear.
is just an uglier Zach Wilson, bro.
I don't know. You got to bring him back. Just let him slang that thing. Nah, Carson got it. Carson's coming out. He's chucking that thing to Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson's bringing that thing in.
Yeah, I think.
Also,
Carson's
could you guess right now? Guess who is projected to have the most rushing touchdowns
this year?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who leads it right now. I don't know. Bijan? I don't know.
Nope.
Jalen.
Yep, you got it.
Let's go!
Jalen Hurts and Christian McCaffrey are the two tied for the highest percent chance of rushing touchdowns, which is downright amazing. Every game, my dad will say to me, he'll go, "Oh, you got to bet the Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown." And I go, "Oh, he's not getting an anytime touchdown today. It's just, there's probably not going to happen." And every single time they get an anytime touchdown.
I could be wrong, but it seems like I don't think he has like a true rushing touchdown yet either, which he will do at certain points. Like,
yeah, like off a draw or something.
Yeah,
I don't think he does either. I think they're all off the brotherly
tush push,
shove.
The brotherly shove. Listen, any team, not every team has a quarterback as strong as Jalen Hurts, but the Bills could do this. I'm sure Patrick Mahomes could do this.
The offensive line is such a huge part of it.
That's also a huge part of it too.
That's
but just remember how good Tom Brady was at QB sneaking. Like, QB sneaking,
and they did push Tom Brady. Don't tell me that they weren't pushing Tom Brady from behind. They were absolutely standing behind Tom Brady, pushing him. There's so many pictures of them literally pushing him into the pile.
And QB sneaks, like, what are you going to say? No tush push, but the QB sneak is still allowed. So that offensive line for the Eagles is still going to be effective.
JJ Watt said, I don't care. He's like, with or without the people behind him pushing, Jalen Hurts is getting almost every single one of those first downs or touchdowns.
People act like a running back pushing the quarterback is making that much of a difference.
It's literally just making him slide in a direction if he gets pushed back. Like,
yeah,
there's no way you're stopping that play because of how good the offensive line is, the best in football, and how strong Jalen Hurts is.
Yeah. 100%.
There's no one else in the league who can do it. We've seen people try. It doesn't happen. Eagles are winning the Super Bowl. It is what it is. Clip this. Front page, back page, middle page. They're them dogs.
God damn. And hey, the Phillies are going to the World Series too.
Phillies are winning the World Series too. Last year was disappointing, I know, but this is what I'm going to tell you. We have these hats on for a reason this episode. We didn't plan this. They're winning the World Series. They're winning the Super Bowl. Sixers, on the other hand, they may not win a game at this point. Like, I could care less if they win a game. So as long as those two things happen, we're chilling.
I'm not a Sixers fan anymore.
Until Daryl Morey sells whatever crumble cookies to get a better player. I don't know what we're doing over here. And we're a strictly Birds and Phillies podcast.
Just to be clear, we're strictly a fantasy football podcast.
Joel Embiid, if you want to come on the show, you're not allowed. I hate to break it to you. Who else?
If
Who
Joel
else
Embiid was randomly allowed, like, James Harden is definitely not allowed.
James Harden, you're not allowed on the show. Sorry. Daryl Morey, nope, you're not coming on. I'm a better fantasy football manager than you are a 76ers manager. And that's on anything. I promise you.
I want everybody to know that we'll be going live on Sunday morning to break down all start sits. You can ask us all your questions, all your start sit questions. We've been damn accurate. We've been damn accurate. I don't have the numbers, but we've been good this year. Start sits. We'll break down it. We'll have injury updates, all that good stuff for you. But
live from the link.
Oh yeah. All right, last question. Which Phillies player would be the best NFL player? Any position. It could be a running back, tight end, wide receiver.
I feel like Bryce Harper can play like
in general.
Like he could play like a gunner or something. Like throw him on special teams.
I feel like
there's not a lot of Phillies players who are like a football type of guy. Maybe like
Zach Wheeler. He's tall. He could maybe be a wide receiver.
He's probably slow as shit though.
Yeah, probably.
Garrett Stubbs could go play like tight end.
Garrett Stubbs pretty small, dude.
You imagine Garrett Stubbs out there
just gets rocks, bro. He has his blue overalls on, bro.
I feel like Nick Castellanos could do something, but I can't imagine. Like, I don't know what it is on my head.
Like, Bohm's pretty big. I don't know.
Schwarber also looks like, Bohm looks like a tight end. Bohm looks straight up like TJ Hawkinson, basically.
Yeah.
But
Schwarber's too fat, bro.
No, I feel like he's like a long snapper. Like, he looks like a long snapper. He definitely in college was not only in the choir, like that we know, but he was also like long snapper at the Hall of, like, so at homecoming, he did both.
Yeah, for sure. All right, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you all Sunday morning to answer all of your fantasy football questions live right here on the Death by Dynasty YouTube. And until then, I like your neon sign, by the way. That's a Death by Dynasty sign right there.
Doesn't it look like it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What up?
It's quietly back there. The DBD sign. New DBD merch in Target now. Go find it. Go ask all the Target people for DBD shit.
All right, peace out.